English country, and today I'm going to Simple with my friend. So I'm so excited, and today we'll read some new book and new story. Marvin Redpost kidnapped at birth, and now we can study for chapter 1, of course, and then chapter 2, okay? And one more time, if you're reading about it, some Wayside School, beyond the cloud of doom. And we're going to study for chapter 12, Mrs. Thorland, and the end of chapter 13 today, okay? And now, are you ready for these to begin 2 stories? Here we go! And first you can read Wayside School, beyond the cloud of doom. Chapter 12, Mrs. Sorleo. The library was on the 17th floor. Mrs. Sorleo was in the library. A giant's office rules sat next to her desk. Oh, yesterday I think these words was a Mrs. Sorrel, and but it's just a doll was sitting next to Mrs. Sorrel's desk. And the world was bigger than most of the kids at school, and a couple of the teachers too. The kindergartens open got scared the first time they saw Mrs. Sorrel's words. Then they touched one of the giant crisps. However, they discovered it was as soft as a pillow. And there's lots of rules in the library. No eating, no drinking, no yelling, no sunglasses, and no hugging in the world until after you check out the book. And Mrs. Sorrel will read her book called Along a Row of Bookcases, and she picked up a book and turned the last page and put in it on the shelf and it belonged it. She took another book and checked its last page, and she put that one in its proper place as well. And she heard a rumble of feet on the stairs, and the chirps and shrieks of young voices, and they're followed by flushing sounds. And Mrs. Jewell's class pertly entered the library. They're scared of Mrs. Sorrel, and while the 2 others greet each other, the children saw different parts of the library and had only 15 minutes to choose and check out the book. And have you read a pig, the princess, and a potato? Lizzle asked Jenny. Is it good? Only the best book ever. And Mrs. Sorrel smiled as they heard that. The only thing she loved more than books of the children who love books. She may have seemed terrible on the outside, but inside the herd was as soft as a pillow. Some libraries have separate areas from fraction and no fraction, and Mrs. Sorrel didn't believe in sort of the things after all, and who was she to decide the true and what wasn't? And she also didn't believe in accurate order, and her books arranged by a number of pages. She knew books were on the end of the library and fact comes were at the opposite end, and along the shelves a number of markers, 10, 12T, and 30, all the way up 1,000. Oh, there's so many books at the library. So it is a library. And in Mrs. Jewell's class wanted to read his book. Or he or she could find it between 100, 180 and 190 markers. And Joy was looking to the books between 40 and 50 markers. And she already read every book in the library with a few and 40 pages. Oh, library have 1,000 of books, and there's lots of page, but she already read all the books at the library, so that means that she read a lots of books. Oh my. So that means she liked books. And Allison liked long novels. She was looking to the ones were between 200 and 3. 200 and 30 and 240 pages, and Jason stood behind her watching. At last, Allison chose her book. It has 232 pages, and Allison showed them, and she put her book back, and then chose a further down the shelf with 238 pages. Jellison put his book back too. He took one with 239 pages, and Allison forgot not to notice even though she was burning inside. And she looked at her book. I think I already read these, she said aloud. She returned to herself. La-dee-da, she said. What books do I need to read? And suddenly she dashed out of an easel and around the corner, and Jellison had trouble squeezing the book back into a place. And by the time he did, he couldn't see Allison anywhere. And he went from an end of the library other, scratching behind the easels. And when he finally saw her, she was hugging the rules. Oh, it's the rules. Oh no. So now, Mrs. Storleo might be very angry because this friend Jason was hugging the rules. Oh no. And that made she already checked out her book. And he ran to her. Hey, Allison, he said, can I see your book? No, she replied. How many pages? He said. I'm not telling to you. More than 300? Maybe. No way, he said. Even you wouldn't read a book with more than 300 pages. And Allison chuckled. More than 350? He asked. Maybe 500? Maybe. Just tell me the title. No, I'm just trying to help you, he explained. Maybe I've already read it. I could tell you it isn't any good. You don't want to read a 500 pages book is boring, or a bunch of kissing in it. And Rosal finished checking her out of her book, and then hugged her rulers too. Let's go, Rondell, said Allison, and Jason watched two girls leave the library. Anyway, to Mrs. Storleo, how many pages in Allison's book? He said. I'm sorry, Jason, the librarian told him. That is confidential information, and Jason sighed. And he returned it to a bookshelf, wondering if Allison really chose a book 500 pages. Anything be possible. Nobody could read it, the book that long. Oh yeah, it's a very, very, very long book. And it's a 500 pages. So the book might be very big. And now it seemed impossible. Nobody could read a book that long, even if it had a big print and shorter chapters. Still, he couldn't be sure. And just to be safe, choose a book with 510 pages. There's no way Allison chose a long book than that. And he started to bring to Mrs. Storleo. But what if she said? And he put the book back and find one with 573 pages. It's the longest book I've ever seen. Oh, I've seen 159 pages, but I've never seen 573 pages in one book. What about you? haven't chosen a book with more pages than that. And again, he started to Mrs. Sorrel's house. But what if she said she returned to a book and its places to a shelf and then choose with 611 pages? A moment later, he returned it. There's some lots of pages and one books. And no matter which books he chose, the same question kept returning. But what if she did? And finally, Jason chose the last book on the shelf at the very end of the library, and he told it with both hands as he looked at our checkout desk. Oh, it might be very short book because it is very end of the library. And the number on its last pages is 999. The book made a loud thud and flopped it into his desk. Excellent choice, Jason and Mrs. Sorrel, when they saw a book I knew you enjoy reading. Read it? And he couldn't even carry it. And Jason, here go rollers. Oh, it's a very many pages in one book. And now, chapter 13, Umbrella. And tomorrow we started for chapter 13 and the end of chapter 14, okay? And now, one more time since they're reading about it, some new book, a new story. Marvin Redpost kidnapped at birth. And chapter 1, Royal Blood. The end. What? The end already? We started. And Marvin Redpost put down his pencil. He was the first one. And he put his... And Marvin Redpost put down his pencil because he'd done up the homework. And he was first one done. And he took his report to Mrs. North. And Mrs. North looked at it. I can't read these, she said. Why? Because Marvin didn't write it? And he had to copy it over. Needle this time, Marvin. Said Mrs. North, and Marvin frowned. And it was the 3rd grade. His class had been learning cursive writing. It's because I laugh. I'm left-handed, Marvin complained. It's impossible to write nearly when you're left-handed, and everything is backward. And I'm left-handed, and said Mrs. North. Oh, said Marvin, we're lucky to be left-handed. And said Mrs. North, it means we have to royal blood. And she smiled at them. Oh, Marvin was just lying. It's not really. Marvin was right-handed, but Marvin was just lying. And Mrs. North noticed Marvin was lying. And would you like Nita if you show it down? She said. It isn't a race. He returned to his seat and he picked up a pencil and wrote as fast as he could. And he had to write it twice as fast as this time just to catch up everyone else. And he had to write a report on something. He read it in a Surgeon Atlas, and Surgeon Evans was a newspaper for children. Oh, newspaper for children? It might be comic then. And this is when Marvin wrote, a king of Champagne is looking for his lesson? Oh, what does that mean? I just know Washington, D.C. and the end. And now, I'm kidnapped. And, I don't know that. Look. Mrs. Norbucky don't know that. Because, it's very not good writing. And now, Marvin finished writing just as bell rang for recess. Oh, so that means it's very long time. And he gave a report to Mrs. North, then ran outside and played wall ball. A very fun roll ball. And Marvin was 9 years old, me too. And he had red hair, not me. And he had blue eyes. I had brown eyes. And he lived in a small town not too far from Washington, D.C. Oh my. So it might be very, very nice. And Washington, D.C. is a very nice country. And now chapter 2, you can do anything. And maybe starting for chapter 2, you can do anything in the other chapter 3, okay? And now, did you have fun? US English, can you come back some better books? These we can be start to read, okay? With lots of book readers and book characters, okay? And thank you for listening every day. And please thumbs up my YouTube. And thank you for thumbs up my YouTube. And now, bye my friend. Have a nice day.